Born in the old town of Orange, California, Hunter Mahan was a late bloomer when it came to golf. But when introduced to the game by his father in his young adolescent years, there was clearly a gift, something one was born with. After moving to Texas, his game really took a leap forward. His swing was not your textbook swing, nor would you want to copy it, but it worked for Hunter. He began putting it to work in the junior leagues and won basically everything there is to win at a junior level. With all this silverware, Hunter was getting a lot of offers from colleges around the country. He did a year at USC before transferring to Oklahoma State University. When he finally got comfy and knew what he wanted to do with his life, Hunter switched it up a gear. He became the Big 12 Conference Player of the Year and a two-time first-team All-American. On top of that, he came runner-up at the 2002 US Amateur to Ricky Barnes, straight for his PGA Tour card through Q School, and successfully earned his card for the 2004 season. At 21 and in his rookie season, Hunter was one of the youngest players on tour at the time. He didn't make the biggest of impacts straight away, but slowly plodded along making cuts and securing checks. Halfway through the season and now the pressure was off, Hunter began creeping up the leaderboards, making a few top 10s and even found himself with a runner-up spot at the Renault Tahoe Open, securing his card for the next season. But just when he thought he had the career start of his dreams, in 2005 Mahan struggled. A lot. He lost his card and had to regain it back at Q School. Hunter knew this was going to be harder than he first thought. He stood up to the challenge ahead of him and grabbed the bull by its horns and secured his card back once again. He was now back where he thought he belonged and he wasn't going to let it slide this time. Hunter wanted it, and he wanted it bad. He began practicing more than ever and began getting out what he was putting into the game. He was there or thereabouts on leaderboards and had eventually found himself in a winning contention once again. He came tied second at the Buick Championship, 3 shots behind JJ Henry. But this finish once again proved where he belonged and secured his card for the coming season. With the pressure once again now off, Hunter could spend more time practicing on his game rather than worrying about the dreaded Q School. It was 2007 and the maiden year of the FedEx Cup. He got off to a flyer that year and he was really making his mark. You could tell he was a different man out on the course, not letting anyone bully him. He took charge and wouldn't accept another second place. He found himself in contention once again at the Travelers Championship with Jay Williamson in a playoff. If he was going to make his mark, it was now. Hunter ripped an iron just past the flag stone dead, which was enough for him to take home his first PGA Tour win. His winning ways would stop there though. Although making a name for himself at the Tour Championship and President's Cup, he didn't manage a win in 2008 and 2009 season. Although he didn't manage a win, he did manage 29 top 25s, including 2 runner-ups. So it wasn't all glitz and glamour, but Hunter was still there and wasn't going away anytime soon. After being considered a one-trick pony like many other single-win PGA Tour players, things got personal. He stormed the PGA Tour battlefield and began picking away at men one by one. The first man was Ricky Fowler, beating him at his much-beloved Waste Management Phoenix Open. And second on his hit list, Ryan Palmer at the WGC Bridgestone Invitational. 2 huge events in the same year through hard work, grit and determination. After building this warrior-like personality, he was always going to be Ryder Cup material. Unfortunately, even the best of warriors can lose concentration at critical moments. But this was a blip. After that, his PGA Tour career continued to blossom and he was having fun with it. He made his way to the Tour Championship once again, but this time in a playoff with Bill Haas. He unfortunately lost, but he lost to one of the greatest shots of all time, which softened the blow a little bit, but he did just lose out on the FedEx Cup and all its winnings. After many a sleepless night and plenty of tears shed, Hunter's warrior instinct kicked right back in and he was hungrier than ever once again. His first victim this time round was world number 1 Rory McIlroy and taking home the WGC Match Play Championship. Months later and still bloodthirsty, Hunter took down Swede Kyle Peterson to win the Shell Houston Open. This win took him to 4th in the world rankings and at the time the highest ranked American. After slowly building on his career from day one, there was only one pedestal left to climb. He entered the 2013 US Open in solid form and was definitely one of the favourites. On the final day with 4 holes to play, he was on the leader's tracks once again. Sadly, Hunter couldn't find that inner instinct that day and carded the remaining holes 4 over and finished tied 4th. He was becoming Mr. Consistent, and even if he didn't win, it didn't matter. He would still make a top 25 or even better a top 10. After the birth of his daughter and no win that year, doubters were starting to blossom once again. But after the fire of the President's Cup still in his belly, it had only got Hunter fired up once again to win. And we didn't have to wait long for Hunter to prove all the haters wrong once again. In 2014, he held off Stuart Appleby, Jason Day, and Cameron Tringali for his 6th PGA Tour win of his career. This win, along with a solid season, secured his spot for Tom Watson's Ryder Cup team. He also marked his 8th straight Tour championship, becoming the only player at the time to make it that far that many times since the FedEx Cup began. He also made 7 out of 18 USA events where he compiled a 14-11-5 record. Mr. Consistency was proving the doubters wrong time and time again. A lot of people didn't think he fit in. He wasn't your standard cover boy for golf. 2015 wasn't his best year, but it wasn't his worst. Again, he plodded along and made cuts, but this slouching play meant he missed out on the Tour Championship for the very first time, and it was from here things didn't really get any better. In the seasons 2016 to now, from 94 events, Hunter has only made the cut in 43 and only managed 9 top 25s. He hasn't qualified for the playoffs since 2015 and has not been involved in any team events. Mr. Consistency was no more, and the warrior within was last seen in battle. His slump even made him lose his card, and he was forced to play on the web.com to get his card back. In 2017 and 2018, he successfully regained his card, but the third time just wasn't lucky in 2019 as he failed to regain his card for the very first time. His year-end world ranking in 2020 was 1,514th in the world, and that number seems like it will only get worse. In 2021, after playing 18 events, he missed the cut in 16. The thing that Hunter did so well over the years was his ball striking. This alone made him the consistent player we all knew. He was always in the top 40 strokes gained off the tee and strokes gained tee to green. Even his putting stats are nothing to cry about. It was a case of the chipping yips for Hunter. When his ball striking wasn't crisp, Hunter would miss greens which would put extreme pressure on his short game. He never looked comfortable with a wedge in his hands, and you could see him take long agonizing pauses before thinking to himself, please don't fat it, please don't fat it. And we all know what happens then. With this huge amount of pressure on his shoulders and his career slipping between his fingers, Hunter had no choice but to make changes. But rather than tackle the wedge problem or the mental game, he began working on swing changes. He got rid of long-term coach Sean Foley for Chris O'Donnell. Their goal is to bring back his consistent swing. In his personal life, Hunter's sister-in-law lost her battle to cancer. Unfortunately, there has been some legal battles regarding Katie's death benefits, something which has been going on between Hunter's wife and mother-in-law against her husband Jason, who also happened to be the SMU golf coach. With all these things going on in Hunter's personal life, it's quite clear to see why he hasn't had as much time to concentrate on golf. With a wife and 3 kids, his priorities will be elsewhere. I think the mountain Hunter has to climb is too big. He's had his time at the top, and what a time it's been. Now he can just concentrate on his personal life and start to enjoy the game that gave him so much.